Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Choir Directors Academy. I am your host, Angela Elaine. So good to see all of you out there. Listen, like, and share this video. Let everybody know that we're live. We're still in the first semester. I am thankful for the comments and for the thank yous. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Thank yous for all of the information that you receive. I really appreciate the comments because I'm not the only one. I realize I don't have all the answers, even though God has blessed me to win awards for what I've done. Doesn't mean that I know everything. I'm just sharing what I learned over the past years of my life and what has been proven to work for me. Okay, and then you all may have something that works for you. So I invite you to leave your comments as we're going through these different topics. Thank you all so much that reach out through the messenger or through YouTube and you send me questions or things that you want me to talk about on the show. I am so thankful. You make my job so much easier. It's not easy coming up with topics to discuss because a lot of times you don't realize things I take for granted, to be honest. I take them for granted. I just know, because of my mom and because of all of the mentors that I have, some things I just know and I just assume that everybody else knows as well. And then later on, I find out they don't. And then you all want me to talk about different things. But you know what? Before I get any further, again, like and share this video and let's get the word out. Thank you to all my newbies. I love y'all. And then I also love my veterans. Don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to get these newbies on the right foot, the right foundation, so that they will end up with a successful group. Let's review what we talked about last week. Things you should know as a choir director, correct? Amen? Yeah, I'm saying amen like I'm in church. But anyway, it is a church topic. So anyway, things you should know. Number one, you should know your singers. We talked about that. You should know your singers. Know your people. Know their abilities. Know what they're good at, they need to be trained. You need to teach in order for them to get there. But you need to know your singers. Know their abilities. Don't try to push them too far, too fast. Have a schedule. Kind of pace yourself. Okay, you have to assess them periodically to know and see if they are developing into the type of singers that you need. You have to have an idea or a vision in your mind. All right. When I started the choir, my mother she taught some a cappella, but it wasn't her base. Right. But when she turned the choir over to me, with the pastor's permission, of course, she turned the choir over to me. I focused on a cappella singing primarily because I don't like for the singers to rely on the music. Anything can happen. A musician may not show up. The power goes out. You want to make sure that you're teaching them and that they're learning the parts, right? Make sure you sing. You should also have a list of songs. You know the songs that they sing well. You should know how confident they are in their skills and in their abilities, right? You don't want to have like your pastor or your bishop or whoever brings in somebody, a renowned artist, and you're trying to sing something new and they panic. No, you should go get that song that they can sing well, that they're very confident in to sing in front of somebody. So you should know all of the songs that they sing well. Know how to position the people so that when they sing, now we got the stage, right? We don't, before we had the choir stands, it was kind of different. Right? You could have a short person standing in the back. Short person standing in the back. But now you can't do that because everybody's level. So you have to know how to position everybody so that they can be seen, right? And then you want to position them properly so that you have the right balance and blend. That is very, very key. Know how to balance your choir. Each section should sound like one person. Nobody's voice should be towering. Well, for lack of a better word, should be towering over everybody else. It should be a blend. Everybody's at the same level, no matter how strong you are, some people they know their part, but they're just not confident enough to come out with that volume. But it doesn't matter. It should be a nice, smooth blend, like coffee, just tea or something, just very smooth. That's what you want to focus on. And you want to make sure you have people positioned. Know who your strong singers are and that they are the one that balance out these sections. and know where to position them so that they can give courage to the one that may not be as confident, but then they know the one that may think they know to blend in with this person. They kind of the stabilizers in each department. You want to make sure that they can do that. And then also as a director, my last point is that you need to be presentable when you are conducting the choir. Do a 360 when you stand, because you know your back is to everybody, right? So you want to do a 360. Make sure you're presentable. There's nothing wrong with being presentable. I don't know why today we act like it don't matter. Yes, it does. Yeah, you don't want to be a distraction to your song. You don't want to be a distraction to the message. Okay. We're going to go into what I know what everybody's dialing in for. Let's see. Tommy Teffer. Hey, Tommy. Good to see you, bruh. Mr. President, Pastor Naaman Williams. Man, one of the best presidents ever. My little brother, Terrion, good to see you. Zori says, this would usually be a choir rehearsal tonight, but the weather lately has allowed them to catch your show. Thank you, Zori. Thank you, Abounding Life. Love y'all. Hey, Silhouette. Listen, everybody. It's my sister's birthday, so give a shout out to my sister. Hey, Silhouette. Hey, Nakia. Good to see you, girl. Go ahead now. Come on now. Miss, go ahead now. Good to see you, Lady Leia. Good to see you. Listen, everybody, we're going to get started into the topic that everybody is really tuning in to talk about. And I've gotten some feedback on this topic. One of the viewers gave me this topic to talk about. And, you know, it's actually pretty deep. And I'm hoping that I will be able to do it justice. So if you have any comments or anything, one of my cousins already gave me a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to use it on the show because he's a pastor. And so he hires people all the time. And he's had some doozies. So he left his comments, which kind of flowed in with what mine are as well. So I'll be reading back and forth from what he is, because he left some good points. Okay. So first of all, the show on tonight is standards, hired help versus volunteer help. And, you know, volunteer help is all of us who are not basically the paid folks versus the non-paid folks. Just like when you have in the hospital, you have the nurses, the doctors, and everybody that's getting paid. And then you have volunteers that walk around in the stripes, right? And one of my favorite people on here, where is he at? Isaac, happy Wednesday evening to you. One of my favorite people, I just gave his name out, gave me this particular topic to discuss. Now, you know, you sit there and you think about it. I think subconsciously, we do have two different standards, right? Because we come in with this philosophy that you get what you paid for. Right? You get what you pay for. That's basically what we're thinking. You get what you paid for. But should there really be a difference between what we require of the volunteers versus the hired help? Right? Should we require the same thing? And my second flip to that would be, is there a difference between hired help or versus volunteers? Is there a difference? I mean, when we think about it, they're both standing up. They're both going to be in front of the people, right? They're both going to leave an impression on the performance, how people receive the group, how people view the group. I mean, they're both are going to have an impact, right, on this. So let's set the stage for all of this. And another side of that, should the standard be the same or different for both? Think about that. Put your comments out there. We're going to discuss this. It's not all about what I say. I have my opinions. My cousin, who's a pastor, had his opinions. You all, please put your comments out there. Should the standard be the same for both, or should it be different for both? Now, a lot of you out there have music departments where you have a mix. You have hired musicians. You have home or volunteer musicians. You have hired singers. You have volunteer singers. Do you require both of them to operate at the same level? Or do you let say lower your standard a little bit for the volunteers and raise it for the standards, right? Because a lot of times this impacts not only just the choir, but it impacts the praise team as well, right? Some people hire a praise team as opposed to using volunteers. Is that the best practice? I mean, because if you think about it, we are supposed to, as a music leader, you are supposed to develop the talent that you have there. What happens if you can't reach the hired person? What are you going to do in that point? What if you have something going on and then, because that happened to me, where the person that I had hired to play for me texts me a few minutes before the event telling me that they couldn't come. So what do you do in that case? I mean, should you just let it slide? Or should you just say, well, I have a hired person and I don't have to worry about anybody else? Me personally, I believe in using both. I believe if I need to use a hired person, I hold them to the same standard as I hold the volunteer. I don't have two sets of rules. You know, first of all, it gets too confusing. There's too much stuff going on. I don't have time to be trying to remember what I told you and what I told you. Though I tell them both the same thing. Both of you are required to be on time. Both of you are required to do this, and that. Okay. I pay you because you have a level of expertise. I know the crowd that I have coming. I may feel, if that person has, the volunteers told me that they're not as confident to play for a particular event, that you may need to get somebody else. I'm a little nervous and I may bring in a hired help, but basically I require the same thing. I don't have time for all that. I don't, because if I have the weight of an event on my shoulder, all I need is, all I want to know is, can you do this? All right. Because I'm not going to even talk to you unless you meet a certain criteria. I'm not going to even consider you. That's just me. Now, and I don't want to start like I did last week, just kind of went on. But for me, I'm not going to even talk to you if you don't even meet at least the bottom. At least the bottom of what I'm expecting. I'm not going to even talk to you. I'm not going to even invite you. I'm wasting time, because most of the people who do play for me, or I'll contact them to play for me, they already know. Dressing all black, you better find you a jacket. You better find you a nice shirt. You better find you. They already know. If I call you, I have a need and I need you. You already know what my standards are. I'm not going to even call you if I'm not. So I hold them both to the same standard. Now, I do know some people that hold different standards. They'll tell the volunteers to do one thing, and then the people who are hired, they can pretty much do whatever they want to do. That's not me. I've seen people have an event like a pastor's anniversary or like some big dinner or something, and they hire musicians, and I promise you, or they hire singers, and they come in looking like, oh my God, everybody else is in their Sunday, in their best, and they just come in, well, I'm a musician, I can do whatever I want to do. I personally, I'm not flying with that. Okay, because first of all, if I'm paying you, I really expect you to look good. I expect your hair, if you're a man, your hair, your beard, your clothes, you be on point. Like I say, I'm not gonna call you if you're not, because anybody that know me, when it comes to an event or something, everybody that knows me know I'm gonna be dressed. I'm not playing. Now, if I'm direct, a lot of times when I'm directing, I forget, and I may just make sure I'm present. I don't really go to the extra, because I'm really just trying to get the job done. I really need these people to do what I need them to do, right? So, but I still require, and if I'm paying you, no excuse. See, if you volunteer, I still expect you to look nice, but you volunteering. But if I'm paying you, I'm expecting you to be on point. Shoes shine, all that kind of stuff. If you're a volunteer, I'm going to tell you, make yourself presentable, do the best that you can. Do your very best, because I don't know your situation, right? So I don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on you. But even those that work with me know they strive to do their best. And that's all I'm pretty much asking. But if I'm paying you, I expect the best. All right, let me check out these comments because they lighten up. All right, let me go back. Priscilla, she says, the only difference I see is that one is paid and one is not. but I feel the standards should be the same because the goal is to edify the people and glorify God. Excellent point. Excellent point. Zori says, for hired help, the music department's expectation or bylaws should be included for them to see. I totally agree. Lady Leah said, you right. Thank you. Zori says, during the interview. That's it. Nakia says, as believers, and she put that in quotes, the standards should be the same, but sometimes it's understandable, depending on the position, you should require a higher standard. Totally agree. Tommy, what you say? Be the tax, hired or volunteer, do it well established. That sounds familiar. Okay, empowered Elisha Curry Bates. She said, I'd say the same for both. Exactly. Terrion, what you say? He says, right. Right to what, Terrion? Hey, Shanita, good to see you. And she said, hey, everyone. I totally agree. Terrion says, what did you say? Standards should be the same. Thank you. And I mean, we all agree that it should be the same. My cousin said he has a whole lot on here. I don't want to get just too early because he kind of hit on the same point that Zori hit about sitting down in the interview with the requirements. Okay. Now let's get into some of the points that I was given and I thought about. Number one, I think we should pray before hiring or recruiting anybody. Okay. I personally, in my humble opinion, I don't just hire somebody to do a job just because they got the skills. And I think that's where the focus is today. We just hire somebody strictly on their skill set without any type of I'm trying to get my screen, without any type of reference, any type of showing of the fruit of the spirit or anything. We're just hiring them, not even looking at what type of person they are. Just because a person has the talent doesn't mean that they have the right spirit to fit in with the organization. I mean, the way they are is part of it. Because if you hire somebody and without praying or asking God, is this the person or should I get somebody else? You don't have that connection. You can hire somebody whose views are totally different. And they, instead of enhancing the department, they pull it down. And you wondering like, man, everything's so heavy. Because whether you realize it or not, whoever the musician is, they have an impact on the service. However you feel, that's how your music is, right? It's like my mom. My mom was when she was alive, God bless her, she's in heaven now. But when she played the organ, she didn't play like I'm not the best musician at it. I tell you, I can do good. If you're a congregational thing, I can play. I can do all right. I just haven't practiced in a while. But my mom was not one of those instrumentalists that ran all up and down the keys like Rodney East or somebody or Ken Wynn or somebody like that. She played though. She played in her chorus. But I promise you, when she played, oh my God, she laid the church out. I mean, with her two little choruses, she just be bouncing. And she be playing, and boy, she tear the service up. But her spirit, how she felt, came through the music. When you hire somebody to sing, what is their lifestyle like? I mean, that's why you got to pray. You don't want to just pick somebody because they sound good. That doesn't necessarily mean they got the spirit. They can just sound good, which is a good thing to sound good. But can you minister to somebody when you singing? Are you connected to the spirit? I mean, we want to just think. We don't want to just run and act. Okay, we just don't want to run and act. Let me see these comments. I want to try to keep up with them. Isaiah said, all boils down to your departmental goals, expectation, and the uses of contractual agreements. It does. That's a part of it. And he's right. When you're dealing with somebody, you have to put it in writing what you're expecting them to do. Right? You just don't hire them and then say, okay, now we're just going to rock and roll. No, you need to let them know what you expect. I totally agree with that. Shanita said, yes, Lord, because that's where we go wrong. We do. We really need to pray before we hire somebody. A lady Leah says, go ahead now, that part right there. Volunteering is having the right spirit makes it does. The right spirit makes a difference. Hey, my sister, Melissa D. Green, she said, teach, but it's true. You need to pray before you hire somebody, right? I mean, you don't know who you're getting. You don't know. You need to rely on the Spirit. And one thing I want to say, don't be desperate to fill a role. I know somebody that has done that. They basically put someone in a role, or they got somebody, it was a volunteer, but they got them in this role, and the person is just not the right fit. But their reason for doing it was that, this or that. And I'm sitting up there looking at them. I'm like, well, why you pick that person? They were like, well, they could sing, they could do. And I'm like, did you talk to God? I mean, I just didn't know what to say. I was just like, and then you're wondering why, everybody's kind of like, you really don't be desperate to fill a role. Don't do that. My newbies, please listen to me. Don't be desperate to fill a role. All right. It's better for you to take somebody and train them. Better yet, sing it yourself. There should be no song that you have that you can't sing. Now, you might not be the best. Let me just throw that out there. You might not be the best singer, but there shouldn't be anything. You should just grab a person, stick them up there because you don't have anybody. No, there is no song that the choir sings that I cannot sing. Even if I got to drop it down 5 or 6 half steps, we say, no, your spirit's not right. I can't do this, right? Don't be desperate to fill a role. Okay, let me get to these comments. Who is this? Bishop Terry Sanders. Hey, sir. He said, great teach. Thank you, sir. Nakia says, not too fast forward, but it seems that the standard has been lowered for hired help because people are in the need of players. Why are the standards are higher for volunteer help? What do? You know what? That's a good question, because I personally don't do that, but that's why I'm rolling back to that point that I made about not being desperate. Desperation is the one that kind of gets it in, because I know we don't like to be without music. Let's just face the music. Let's cut to the chase right now. We don't like to be without music. So then, because we want to have music, because a lot of people don't come to church unless you have the music, right? Let's just keep it real. All right. So you grab somebody to stick in there because you may not be a musician, or you just need that role filled. And that's what makes us do the hiring help, because it's like a bargaining chip, right? Let's go to corporate America. If I have a need for a senior leadership, whatever it is, CFO, CIO, CEO, CHO, whatever. Okay, and you're the best of the best. That's negotiation, right? What am I going to do? I need this person. You're the best person for this. You're the only person that can fill the role. So what are you going to do? You're going to negotiate. You're going to say, well, I don't want to do this, and that. Well, if I'm desperate enough, what am I going to do? I'm going to come in an agreement with what you want. Why? Because I need that CEO, CFO, CIO, CHO, whatever you are, right? I need that person. So what? I'm going to lower my standards down a little bit so that I can get you in there, because why? I need that role. Whereas everybody else in the organization, this is somebody I'm bringing in from the outside in, but everybody in the organization, well, you got to be right? And they're looking like, well, why I got to have all of this? And then you bring this person in from the outside, and what happens? We see it all the time. The person that is there that you holding up to this high standard, they got to train the person that does not have the credentials. This goes back to my point about not being desperate, right? That's why we do that. And we shouldn't do that. If you have somebody that's a volunteer that has the basics to be developed into that role, then that's who you should be working with. Working with them and putting them in things, seeing how they work out, and kind of training them and gearing them around so that you don't have to rely. Because in the absence of another person. If that job is that person's livelihood and you got a volunteer that's coming in that's just as good, then you have the bargaining chip to work with that person. Say, no, if you don't come up to this, and that, then sorry, I got somebody else in the wings. Okay. Does it kind of help you out, Nakia? I don't want to be like, whatever. But I mean, that's basically is leverage is a reason why. Leverage is, and that's a stake that's in corporate. That's a stake everywhere. It shouldn't be in the church, right? It shouldn't be, but because we need people, because there's such, I would even say there's a shortage of musicians. I just think money has become the driver. They use money because everybody's like, I mean, seriously, I could have left my dad's church and did whatever. Because I was offered money to move to another state, go here, go there, but I chose not to do it because I knew my father, somebody else. My sister is a musician and she's a choir director. She just don't like to do it full time. She could have done the job, but I know my father he leaned on me for that, right? So, I mean, money, funds. If you pay more than this one, I'm out. Everybody's after that instead of being after doing, as my sister said earlier, doing things for the glory of God. I hope that is. Lady Leah said, with or without an agreement. Exactly. Bishop, he gave me fire. Hey, say that again. Bishop says desperation can be, come on, sir. Desperation can be catastrophic because sometimes you can have somebody in there and you stuck. And then it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to, it happens. All of us have been there. You're absolutely right, Bishop. Terrion said, help us out. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. My sister says, amen. Hey, cousin. My cousin, Jimmy. Hey, cousin. Tell it. Thank you, sir. We say we don't need no music until one day. Come on, sir. That's the thing. We say we don't need no music, but you know what? If you don't have music on the inside, you in trouble. You in trouble. You right. Professor John Henry Jr. He says people should have a passion for the ministry. Come on, sir. This is my professor from North Carolina. Yes. People should have a passion for ministry. That's gone. That's gone, professor. It's gone, professor / pastor. It's gone. It's gone. Zori, what are you saying? Things turned competitive when streaming became popular. Hello. Everybody is trying to outdo the other church. Exactly. And you know what? If we would just be ourselves. But you know what, Zori, to that point, you ever notice that those churches that are just homegrown, they just had that good old fashioned whatever. Do you realize that they are becoming super popular now, that people are more gravitated to them for just good old fashioned church? You ever notice that? But that came about during the pandemic where everything became competitive. Everybody's trying to outdo one another. But you know what? I can't keep up with that. I have to do me, right? I have to do who God made me to be. Thank you all so much for your comments. But we don't want to be desperate to fill a role. Okay. And then here's the thing, a lot of things, I'm sure a lot of you can comment on this. List the things that are a must. Do you hear me? When you're talking to somebody that you're interviewing for a job in your department, list the things that are a MUST, must, non-negotiable for the music department. Put it in writing. We ain't bending. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how many Grammys, Stellas. I don't care what you got. This is the must. We ain't bending. This is it. All right. My cousin said he would want to know, how is your walk with the Lord? Shanita, this is your uncle. Jimmy, this your brother, Joe. He said, I would want to know, how is your walk with the Lord? Not to judge, but to see what we are presenting to the Lord. We certainly don't want you to play for the club on Saturday and come rolling in here on Sunday playing for the Lord. Can't serve two masters. Don't need the strange fire in the house of the Lord. He's absolutely right. All of this is part when you pray. Because when you pray before hiring somebody, you won't get that point. But if you desperate, you just grab somebody, that just may happen. He's all of the things must be a must. He said faithfulness to the obligation. I need to know a bit about your background, where you've been doing for the last couple of years. How long have you been a musician? Where have you been playing before coming here? If I like what I heard and decided to move forward, I would just have a sit down conversation, laying out the expectation. Back to this point, list those things that are a must. And he said, I would be upfront and very transparent so no one would leave without a crystal clear understanding. Money and all. When somebody is playing, and this is a good point. I didn't think about this. But he says, when someone is playing for the church, they are a representative of the church at all times. So they need to be told so that their actions will not make the church look bad. Leave no stone uncovered. And he's absolutely right. Let them know what you are expecting. And I think that's where we fall down a lot. We're not letting people know what we are expecting them to do. We're just grabbing them and running. So they come in, whatever. And then you're sitting there looking like disaster, or as Bishop said, catastrophic. It's just like, oh my God, what is this? You don't want to do that. You want to make sure it's in writing. Right. And, and especially when this is the first time this person has ever worked with you. The ones that I have, they have worked with me before. So I don't really have to go through all of that. When I make that phone call, they already know, okay, I got to have this, and she's not playing. I give you the list of songs. This is the rehearsal. This is, whatever. I need you. And if the service started at 7:30, I need you there at 6:30. I don't want to look. Everybody knows I don't want to look for you. Don't make me look for you. Because if I have to look for you, I'm done. Because, that's just how I work. Very, I'm a little animated right now, but that's how I am. I don't want to look for you because I'm already nervous. I'm already thinking about, okay, all these different things, getting the service started, make sure I'm in the right frame of mind. And then I got to look for you. Well, where's so-and-so? Yeah, don't do that to me. Let's get to these comments. Zori said, I went there. Sorry. Being authentic is important. Yes, sir, it is. Kimberly, my favorite alto, she and I in the state choir, third jurisdiction. Oh my God, me and Tiffany and I could not sit next to her because she got me in trouble. She had me busting up laughing. But she and I was the altos, a phenomenal singer. She says, the Bible says, whatever you do it wholeheartedly unto the Lord. Whether I get paid or not, it's my due service unto him. That's the right attitude. That goes back to Professor John Henry's point. People should have a passion for the ministry. You really should. Lady Leia said, yeah, people are more driven by competition and dollars than the anointing and the passion of music. Absolutely. Terrion says, your lifestyle, big impact. He says, we have to live what we sing. Yes, we do. Derek Coley had a song saying, when the music stops, I have to that's when I live the song. That's when I live the song. When that music stops, I should be living the song before the music stops. But a lot of people don't think about it. They don't think about it until everything over. And then it's like, okay, you sing and your voice is good, but you're flat because there's no life in you. Nakia said, are you safe? I mean, it's a shame we got to ask that, but you do. And then just because you ask about it, they'll tell you anything just to get the money. You got discernment. Oh my God, it's king discernment. Are you safe is a key point, right? My sister said, my sister don't play. Well, she right. She's sitting there with me because I'm sitting there and I'm looking like, but one thing I have to say to her, she know I'm serious because I don't ever have to look for her. When I said she right in my face, she come walking in the door, her and my niece walking in there because I'm like, I don't want to have to look for nobody. And she right there in my face. I said, okay, I see you. I see Duchess. Everything's all right. Hey, buddy. Hey, Cuzzo. Good to see you, sir. Tommy said, I'm telling you, that's my girl. That's my girl. But you know what? You do. You have to put everything in writing. You want it in writing. You want it in writing. You don't want no confusion. In that, you need to list the responsibilities of each person, the position, rehearsal attendance, practice, uniform adherence. All of these different things are very, very important to the. You know what? Let me. Okay. Oh my God, Terrion. Why didn't you tell me what time it was? I'm trying to get off of here. You know I don't like to be on here long. I had only planned on being here a half hour, and it's already past my half hour. Okay. One thing I want to say, when you are a music minister, a president, a director, when they make you a director of that department, I pray that you have autonomy. They should choose you because you've already demonstrated that you have the ability to do the job. That's the first criteria. You got a life and you have demonstrated that you can do the job. Let's think about this here. Okay. When you are in charge of a department and they are leaning on you and they're telling you, you are the president, you are whoever you are. I'm trying to read all of this stuff and keep up with this time. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. You cannot be afraid to stand up to people. You don't have to be nasty and, no, but you cannot be afraid to stand. You are the armor bearer. You are the standard bearer of that group. They're only going to do what you do. If you are haphazard and lackadaisical and you don't give a care what they're doing, guess what? That's what you're going to get. I tell you all the time, you're going to get 80% of what you give out. So if you give out and you have, you just like, oh, okay, you're not going to get much. But if you are diehard and you like, let's go, you're going to get 80% of what you give out. I guarantee you're going to get 80%. I have always gotten 80% of what I give out. So you cannot be afraid to put in writing and to tell the people what you're expecting. Because whether you believe it or not, nobody wants to be part of a ragtag organization. I mean, you think about it, your volunteers, you hold them to the same standard. But, even those that are getting paid don't want to come to rehearsal and it's like helter-skelter. The volunteers really don't want to be part of anything that is not have a standard or that's good. Seriously, I don't. If they have a regional choir and we get there and nobody, we waste a lot of time and the people can't sing, the musicians can't play. You think I'm going to be a part of that? And I'm volunteering? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that. You cannot be afraid to tell people what their responsibilities are, what you're expecting of them. You cannot be afraid. My fellow presidents, ministers of music, you cannot be afraid. Okay, you let them know what you're expecting. You can be nice and firm. You don't have to get out of character. But you know what? I can tell you this: when you walk in that door and you walk in, people can assess you and know that you walk, you live, and you conduct yourself at a standard. At a certain standard. And you know what? It's just like in the Bible when Jacob was keeping the flock for Laban and they gave him the sheep and he put those rods in there, and the rods that they saw all the time, that's what the sheep and the goats and whatever else, that's what they came out looking. When you have your standard and you present yourself in a certain way, the choir, because you're consistently in front of them, they see the results, they see how the people react to you. Do you know that they will come in line to where you are? They'll see what it means to have that kind of standard and they'll follow you. They'll start bringing themselves in line to your vision that God has given you for that choir. Okay? Let me check these comments out. Terry said, take your time. You tell me that every week. You tell me that every week. I'm just like, Buddy says, you must put into it what you want. That's the only way. My cousin says, when you are in charge, you have to tell what you want and not what they want to hear. Come on. He was a manager of a big organization. It's the truth. When you're in charge, you have to tell them what you want, not what they want to hear. That's the only way people are going to do better. They're not going to do better if you can't patty cake with people. You have to just tell them, or else you lose out. You wasting time. My next point, how should it be managed in keeping the standard of excellence between both parties? You know, I mean, once you put it in writing and you talk to the people and you set it and you say, this is what we're going to do, no ifs, ands, buts about it, you'd be surprised. People really, I know we got a lot of helter-skelter going on right now, and everybody say, you can't tell me what to do, you judging me, blah, 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 blah. You know, I sometimes I said people are not really thinking completely. They're not. Because you cannot move forward without some kind of a standard. You can't. You can't let everybody just do whatever. Even God, even though he gives us a free will, you notice all these little trials and tribulations is the way that he's keeping us in order. When you get too far over there, what did he do? He let something come into your life to push you back over here. Now, it's your decision if you're going to keep fighting against what he's doing, or you just going to say, okay, God, I messed up, and I'm going to follow along with what he's saying. All right. You have to maintain. Do you have to yell at every single thing? Absolutely not. But when you see the choir start deviating, that's your job to speak up and say, you know, hold on. That's not what we're doing. That's not what we're doing. We have a standard to keep. We have a God to glorify. We have to maintain this particular stance. Let me get these comments. Heaven Bound says, when I do that, they say I'm being mean. Listen, but you know what? You have to yet stand. They're going to say that. You know what? A lot of people say a lot of things because they really don't understand. You know, they don't understand. They don't understand the implications, or a lot of time when people don't understand, you know, they have to learn to cooperate regardless. But a lot of people don't understand the vision. They may not understand the vision. And so they kick against the pricks. Or they kick against it. But you as a leader, you have to stand firm because this is what God has given you to do. This is what you already communicated to your leader, your pastor. This is the way we're going. They don't have a problem with it. We're not worried about it. This is the way we're going, and this is what we're going to follow, and this is what we're going to do. And you have to be strong in that. You can't be afraid, you know, they're going to walk away. A lot of times they won't walk away, they just fall in. They'll fall in. They will. Trust me. Tommy, totally agree. Rules everywhere else except the choir or the church. Rules everywhere. Everywhere we go, there are rules. So why is it when it comes to anything related to the church, no rules? We're supposed to let everything. And you know what? Even when you read the Bible, there are rules. God. Sometimes I think we confused. I don't want to make this a theological discussion, but sometimes I think we confused. Tommy, what you say? That's it. They don't understand, and some don't want to. That's it. I am exactly. Please do. Terry, understand. People follow what they want. That's it. That's it. That's all. Right there. That's it. That's all. They do. They follow what they want. And, you know, one thing I've noticed in the Bible, a lot of people try to say, you know, that we say that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Isn't that what we say? We say God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He never changes. And we say God is always faithful. He never changes. But then what God requires in the Bible, what he required in the Old Testament, he required in the New Testament. Right? If you go back and read the Old Testament, all the things that he tells you that he didn't want you to do, if you go over the New Testament, it's the same thing. But Jesus just capsulated, because what God was trying to do was get your heart. Get that heart. What happened was when he gave all of these things, all these rules that he wanted, 613 laws that he wanted them to follow, he was trying to get their heart. But the reason they had a hard time doing stuff because their heart wasn't in it. They were just doing the rules. They were just killing animals and just doing stuff. You know, okay, I'm gonna do this anyway. All I got to do is kill a calf, and or bring him a pigeon, right? But that's not the principle. That's not what God was trying to have. Because Jesus, when he came, he told them, you should love the Lord thy God with all their heart, their mind, their soul, and their spirit, and love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the laws and all the prophets. So he's telling you, he ain't got rid of all that stuff. He's just saying if your heart is in it, you'll do it. This is the same thing with this. If a person's heart is in it and they love what they do, you do it. Listen, I have sang in choirs all my life. Some of them, you know, it didn't matter what ethnic choir it was. It didn't matter if it was a concert choir, it didn't matter. Whatever that director said we had to do, that is what I did. And I don't care. They told us all to wear purple with gray shoes. I did what they said. It didn't matter. I didn't care. Yeah, I volunteered, and there were some people in there that they paid. It didn't matter to me. My heart, because I had a passion for music. So I didn't care. I just wanted to sing. I didn't care. I just wanted to sing. Let me get back in and get these comments. Isaiah said, a standard is a must. There should be no respect to person. Come on now. Some people feel a sense of entitlement. I'm so tired of that today. Everybody's entitled. They want what they want. Well, guess what? I want what I want, but all the time I don't get it, right? Nikia says, stand strong in the standards you have set. You got to. You cannot bend. You can't bend, because once you bend for one person, you got to bend for somebody else. I don't have time. It's easier to stick with the standard than it is to compromise with everybody on the team, because after a while you forget what you forget what you agreed to. But if you stick with the standard, it don't matter. It's the same today. It's going to be the same tomorrow. All right. Also, the kid said tradition and no conversion. That's come on. Isaiah said, then they want to run to the pastor when somebody corrects them and telling them right. Exactly. Nobody wants to be corrected. You're going to get corrected regardless. You're going to get corrected. And you have to accept it. You know, as long as the person is not abusive, it don't matter. Buddy Gill says, I think many of us get so common with each other till we lose the sight of the position that people hold and the respect. Come on, sir. That's true. That's true. You're absolutely right. Sometimes we do. Many of us do. We get so common, you know, and that brings me to the point when I was in ROTC and dealing with the Army, they always told us you can't lead and bleed on the same people. Now you have like Jesus had his group, his inner circle that he talks to. But even with them, Peter, James, and John, he didn't tell them everything. He shared with them some things, but Jesus still had to keep that distance between him and the disciples. They still had to, you know, he still made, because, you know, remember Peter? He going to tell them to get there. No, that ain't be that far. He said, whoa, wait a minute. Jesus tell him, whoa, back up now. You know, and he's absolutely right. You do have to keep that distance. You can't lead and bleed on the same people. You have your inner circle, but then there are some things you can tell and some things you can't. There's some things you just got to deal with yourself. Okay, Heaven Bound said, it seems like the structure is not in the church anymore. Even with people that came into church when we had more. Exactly, the structure is not there. Not as it should be. Terrion said, but it's the truth, Terrion. Heaven Bound said, look, still is. I still feel the same way. Priscilla said, but again, didn't he? He nailed it. That is exactly it. Let me read that one more time. He says, I think many of us get so common. Why do we do that? We get so common with each other until we lose sight of the position that people hold, and the respect of those positions are lost. That has a great impact. That is profound right there. It really does. It really does. It really does. And that's sad that we get to that point. My final point, and I got to get off of here, y'all. I've been here almost an hour. Oh my God. Opinion, just my personal opinion, just because the choir members and musicians are not professional in the field does not mean we shouldn't expect the best. And that goes back to my beginning point. I expect the best out of everybody. I don't care. I expect the best. I expect the best out of everybody. It doesn't matter to me who you are, where you come from, how much you know, whether you have a degree in music or you don't. It doesn't matter to me. All right. I'm more concerned with your spirit. what kind of spirit you got. Can you get along with people? Are you saved? Do you know Jesus? I mean, are you, I want to make sure the right spirit is in you. Because if your right spirit is not in you, you're going to scuttle the ship. You're going to put a hole in it. We're not getting off the ground with you. All right. That's what I really want to know. So in a nutshell, I appreciate all these fantastic comments. But in a nutshell, the standard should be the same for the hired person versus the volunteer. Same standard. And if we have the passion for music, if we have a passion for God, if we have a passion for music, you won't even worry about, when I sing, and sometimes I get compensated, sometimes I don't. But you know what? I sing whether they compensate me or not. Look how many years I had to be in music and direct the choir, how many awards I had to win before I even started getting a salary, getting a check, But it doesn't matter to me. I have a passion for music. I love it. I love music. I'm not an instrumentalist like I used to be, but I still can play. But I love it. It's a beautiful genre or entity. I call it an entity sometimes because there's so many facets in music. But I love it. And I think it can be it's a major asset to a church organization. And we should approach it with care and passion and love. We should. It's an honor that God bestowed a gift in you of that magnitude. There are so many people that wish they could sing, wish they could play, wish they could be a part of a choir. They just wish. And sometimes we take it for granted that we can just get up and just sing and play and do what we do. We forget, but it is an honor to sing. Sometimes when I'm directing the choir, in my mind, it's like, God is sitting there and I have this one time he's allowing me to direct the choir. And sometimes I'm just like really into it because I'm letting him know that I really love this gift. I have a passion for it and I love it. Have a passion for what God is giving you to do. Have a passion for it. All right. I'm going to get these last comments and I'm going to sign out of here. Buddy Gill said, I know I came in late, cousin, but I'm glad I caught you before you ended this last session. I love you to life. Love you too. Love you too, cousin. Tommy Teffer said, y'all should hear what I've gotten. We're not Chicago Mass, Georgia Mass, Mississippi Mass, but I'm like, bro, we should do. Yes, we should. Queenie, hey, oh my God. What can we say about the Queenie Lennox? Oh my God. Her family is just known. She is a phenomenal singer. Oh my God. Queenie, thank you so much. Oh, I wish I could play. You can't play. I just assume you did. Oh my goodness. Heaven Bound. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out, Heaven Bound. Appreciate you. Thank you, sis. Hope your birthday's been good. Cousin, what you say? That's a true statement. When it gets too common with people, they will always try to lead in different directions. Come on, sir. Thank you, cousin, for hanging out. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, everybody. It's been a long time. I got to go. It's been almost an hour, and we still got 21 people. This is so awesome. Thank you all so very much. I love all y'all. Let me see. Who's this? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Always enjoy tuning in. Thank you, Terry. My little brother. I love you. I love you, bro. I'll be back next week. Thank you, Nakia. I love you. Thank you so, so very much. Listen, y'all, I got to go. Like and share this video. Thank you for all of your comments. This was a great session. I enjoyed it. Who is this? I'm trying to get off. My favorite alto, Tiffany. Be blessed, sis. Love you. All right, y'all. Got to go. Love y'all. Like, share this video, and we'll see you next week. Peace.